Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen. One-of-a-kind shades made to order by Vaporshades.com. Vapor Shades designs the outer layer of the sunglasses just like a wrap on a car. They customize your sunglasses, marbling the paint. The end result is no two pair of sunglasses are alike. Yours will be completely unique to you. Check us out at Vaporshades.com. Use promo code Tuddle for 15% off your entire order. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Vapor Shades Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Anarchy! Anarchy! Anarchy!
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Make sure you check out my website, Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with two D's, Tuddle.net. You're going to be able to find every single place that you can find me online. And also, guys, I'm not ignoring the podcast. I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff on my plate right now. But go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. I'm only like an hour or 100 hours away from being monetized. People will be able to start tipping me whenever I'm in the YouTube channel doing my live streams. But I digress. I'm going to bring on my very good friend. I did his show yesterday, the weekly review podcast, the one and only Serak. Serak, how are you?
Hello, what's up, man? Damn, man, you got YouTube channel, you got website. Like, oh my god, man, you got your hands in everything right now. Holy shit!
Well, so listen. I know that you look, we've talked off the air. We've
Right.
talked off the air. This is something you are. I don't want people to think that this is like a hobby for Serak. Serak has big dreams. Serak wants
Big dreams, baby.
Serak wants to get on that heater. I don't even know if I'm using the term correctly.
A heater, yeah, because I think in reference to football, the hot seat, that's a bad thing. I think that's when you're about to get fired. When you're on the hot seat.
Oh man, Do you realize that I got fired by the most powerful woman in radio? I don't know if I've ever told you that
That's
before.
a compliment, If you're gonna get fired by the best.
Yeah, but see, she had like everything in her office was dark. Okay.
What do you
But
mean
she
dark?
had
Like gothic?
Well, like dark theme, like browns and like not any
Kind of like
vibrant colors.
the Devil Wears Prada, that lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she had this one bright white couch.
Okay.
That was the firing couch.
So you already knew once you come in, take a seat.
If she asked you, yeah,
I'd rather.
yeah,
stay.
if she tells you to sit on the white couch, oh, you know that you are fucked.
What did she fire you for?
Well,
Or what did she
remember,
tell you that she fired you for?
Well, okay. The first time that I got fired, I didn't get fired by her. Okay, I got fired by Catherine Brown, who was our program director.
Time out. The first time.
Yeah, I worked 4.1 on two separate occasions. First time I got fired for payola plugola.
What is that?
Well, I had a brokered show. Okay, brokered shows are where you get an advertiser, they buy the time for you, and then you get to sell your own advertisement. You get to keep the money inside of that show. Okay. Now, my sponsor, which was
that would have been like how you did when you were with Bubba, like the buds and suds.
Yes,
that's like getting paid for that separate from getting paid from him.
Yeah, but in radio they have the same payola plugola. Like you cannot take money under the table from somebody that's not a paid sponsor. With you can't take if your buddy came to you and say, "Hey man, I got an event coming up. I just bought a car wash. If I throw you a couple $100, can you work me in a plug?"
Yeah, because you already I get what you mean though, because you're kind of already representing one studio.
Yeah, so I went to the Applebee's across the street from the radio station, and you know how they have those dividers. So I was meeting with my sponsor, Orlando Dodge Chrysler Jeep, who was buying the time for my brokerage show, but he wanted to be on real radio. Okay. This show was not on Real Radio. It was on 740 The Game, which was a sister station of Real Radio. But he wanted, that was an AM. He wanted to be on FM. And me and him were having a meeting and stuff. And little did I know, you know, like how they have those dividers that they can bring up, like if you got a big party, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Okay, so I didn't know my program director was on the other side of that glass, and she heard every single thing that I was talking about. And
well, you weren't like bashing her, were you?
No, but I was like cutting some deals. Like I was making promises. Like I don't know if I could have fulfilled.
Show like initiative, you know, like, okay, this guy is a hustler. He's a hard worker. Like I'd probably give you promotion.
Yeah, well, I got fired by her. But then, though, get this, okay? Now, out of 22 years of radio broadcasting, I have never, ever, like, been late or missed a day. Like, I always come in, even if I'm sick, just to show them that I'm sick. Because radio people don't like sick people coming into the studio, okay? I think the last time that I missed a day of work, Bubba actually sent me home because I was sick. Like they could tell that I was sick.
Well, I'm saying, but like if it affects your performance, though, like shouldn't that be a concern? Like you don't want to be like on live, but well, I don't know if it's live or like pre-recorded, but like you don't want to be coughing and sneezing and shit.
Okay, but you got to remember though, like Bubba, that's his studio. Okay,
right.
When we worked at Real Radio 104.1, there were 5 shows that all had to use the same microphone. So what I'm saying is, if somebody came in sick, use that microphone, then it's just going to spread. And then your whole station's going to be down for the count.
They can afford to like have multiple, like, I mean, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's such a small thing to prevent, you know, like, hey, so-and-so's sick. Maybe we should switch the mics or have people bring like their own mics. Anyways,
so I had not missed a day of work. Now get this though. Okay. So the second time around that I worked there, I didn't run the board. There was another guy that ran the board. See, okay, this is how the studio. This was a real talk studio. Okay, now master control was in one room. Okay, and then you had the talk studio that was in another room, but you had a pane of glass that you could look in, and then there was a booth off to the right. Okay, that another person sat in. Now I know how to run the board because I run a very tight board.
Okay.
But the guy that ran the board for the morning show that I was on was late like 4 or 5 times where I had to pick up his slack. And guess what? Did I snitch on him? Did I rat on him? Did I complain?
No, when you say late, are we talking like
a
8
o'clock
late or like 30
like
minutes
8 o'clock,
to an hour late?
8 o'clock, show started at 6.
Oh, fuck that. Like he's fired. Like I don't care how nice you are. Like if I gotta do your job and you're 2 hours late, and I don't know, did he give you like a heads up at least?
Nope.
Yeah, you're gone.
So luckily I had to run the board because nobody else on the show, none of the personalities knew how to run the board. So I had to fill in. So I had to run the board and answer phones at the same time.
Like, shouldn't that be like a requirement before they like, you know, hire on personalities? Like, hey, do you also, just in case, worst case scenario, know how to run a, you know, like a soundboard? Yeah, that, I mean, everybody in Tampa,
everybody in Tampa knows how to run their own board. Like, though, but the way the studio is set up, though, Serak, like I said,
you just can't.
The host position is separate. All he has is the phone bank in front of him. He has the dump button and his microphone. And a couple of computers to be able to see stuff. We control all the commercials, sound effects, whatever it may be, music.
Right.
So this is right after my divorce. You know, I had a radio promotion. I hate doing promotions when night promotions at club events whenever you got to get up and work the next morning. Okay.
So they just have you out and about, set up. Actually, I see that at our bar sometimes. Every now and then we'll have like the local radio come in.
So the salesperson that it was his client kept buying me drinks all night. Now, I'm not blaming it on him, but because I'm responsible for my own drinks and stuff. But I got really fucked up. And my phone starts ringing. The next thing I remember, my phone's ringing, and it's like fucking 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, where are you at? I'm like, oh, fuck. Is this how this feels? Is this how this feels?
Yep.
Now, I thought, like, you know what, dude, you've been working, like, at the time it was like 15 years of radio. You've never missed a day. You've never
Right.
been late. I was
Doesn't
like,
matter,
okay,
bro.
you're
But it
gonna be
doesn't
fine.
matter. It doesn't matter. It just you could be that one time you just
Okay.
like all this shit could just go wrong and you're late and sounds like that lady's a bit. I don't want to say the B word,
Okay.
but sounds like that
No,
lady's a little.
you don't want to
she's real
say she is
strict.
because, like, no, seriously, they put her on the magazine Radio Inc.
What's her name?
and Linda Bird, BYRD,
I'm gonna look her up real quick.
and it was titled "The Most Powerful Woman in Radio."
Business 2015. Oh, damn. So she's like a Hillary Clinton B version.
Yeah,
Looks
like she is like almost running iHeartRadio.
I feel like she would like me. I'm looking at photos of her, and she gives
Okay.
just from her pictures gives me that like she'd give me a second chance
Okay.
vibe. You know?
Now, I'm not saying this. Now, hear me out on this, okay? Hear me out for a second, okay? The guy that was late all the time, the one that did not get fired, is a minority.
Black, Spanish, what?
Spanish, Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And the white guy misses one day. Do you think they were? No, I'm just saying, were they like, we got to make a point here?
Yeah,
like,
but your position is way more important than his. Like you could do his job, but he can't do your job.
Okay, but you do understand
That's
what I'm
like
saying?
like
it
going to
was
school and it's like comparing a student being late versus the teacher being late.
But Serak, though, man, people fuck up and make like honest mistakes.
Yeah, but she must like it must have been like slew because a lot of times like people may not like you and don't want to see you succeed. So they just wait for the littlest like slip up like that, And I don't. And I'm not saying is it her call or does it like is it passed up through like some management?
You know what though? I think it might have been some sponsors. I don't even know, man. That's the thing about it now. And you also the two times now. I'm not saying it because I've made up with this person, but the same host, the two times that I was fired, left the morning show a segment early because he had something to do.
Oh.
So what I'm trying to say is like, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. Like for me to get fired,
for you to get fired on like his dentist appointment,
yeah, no,
like, what's the odds of that?
No, but I mean, am I looking into things? Am I being paranoid, or like you understand what I'm saying?
Maybe a little paranoid, But then again, like, has anyone else ever got fired for being late besides like in your position? Or no?
Yeah, but they had a lot more leadway. Nobody ever got fired on their first fuck up.
Let me ask you this: how was your performance overall? Because that's kind of a big indicator.
Okay, all right. Here, I'll give you an example. Okay, so from 2000 to 2010, I was like never really taken seriously. Okay, so then I went and started working in Tampa. I was on Bubba's show. I was on 102.5 The Bone. And they wanted me, like they contacted me and they came at me with a number. I'll tell you, it was $40,000 a year. Okay. And
is that good for,
I mean,
do you think that's
radio,
good for your talent level, I guess?
I mean, $40,000 I could comfortably live on.
Yeah. But with that being said, like, but you're not allowed to have like other side gigs,
okay,
right?
No. Hear me out though. I turned down that first offer. They came back and said, "All right, we're going to give you the 40,000, but this is the first time I ever had this in my radio career. I would get a ratings bonus."
Okay.
So ratings come out 4 times a year. Okay.
Every quarter.
So if we were number one, they scratched me a check for $8,000.
Oh shit! So that's a hell of an incentive if you're number one, though.
Okay, but even if we were number 2, I got 4,000.
And 3 is 2, I assume.
Yeah, it goes down and down.
Okay.
But luckily, there's not a lot of competition. I basically the whole time I got my $8,000, and you know what it.
So that's what 8. What's 8 times 4? 32.
Yeah, that's so that's
So
32. That would that's
72 grand
72,000. Yeah, for like
before tax.
doing. Yeah,
Shit. I mean, that's a hell of it. I mean, I would have took it.
yeah, and I took it, but like, but what I'm saying though, and I remember the first time. Isn't it funny? Like, $8,000 to like a Elon Musk. That's like here. What? Here. I don't know if you can hear.
That's
this.
like, oops, I think I dropped something.
No, listen. That's the change. Here, watch. That's the change I have in my little cup holder in my car right now. That's what that is. To Elon
$8,000.
Musk.
He probably would just be like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
like
but
it's 8,000. Like, what's 1,000?
but to me and you though, to get a check for like $8,000, like you know what really sucks is when you get to see the taxes that they take out of that
trust me, dude.
$8,000.
I was doing when I was doing mortgages as a loan officer, and we were getting straight commission. And you see those taxes, that's depressing. Like I got like a 20 grand check, and after taxes, it came out to like maybe 11 or 12.
So here, you want me to bum you out even more?
Yeah. Yes, please. Please make me depressed right now.
Well, trust me, I'm already depressed with everything going on in my life. But so I get my last bonus check right before I get fired. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And this is right before I get divorced. Okay. I ended up finding out some things. My wife went up to New Jersey for her sister's baby shower, and I just packed up my shit and left. Like,
wait. So let's time frame here. So
2014.
2014, you already got fired, right?
No. Oh, no. I was still employed there. I was.
Okay. So what happened first, the divorce or the firing? I guess you say, what did you see coming first?
Officially the divorce was after the firing, but I was out of the house before
the actual divorce.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I found out some stuff, and I'm not gonna talk trash about her, but
I'm sure I don't know if I use my imagination.
Text messages and some stuff,
That's the worst, isn't it? It's like,
and what is even a bigger kick in the balls is when you confront the person and they try to spin it like you forced me,
Yeah,
like,
but that's a normal like defensive reaction. When a lot of people get like confronted or something like that, oh, it's your fault. Like, how's it my fault?
So get this, being the nice guy and everything, because, we're still married.
Mm-hmm.
I put the check for my bonus check and
wait, you put it where?
I put it in the bank account.
The joint bank account?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, like an idiot. Come on, Tuddle. You were blinded by love on that one. Hell no, there was no and put it in my pocket like Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, she bought a she bought one of those like first hybrid cars.
The Prius, the Toyota.
Yeah, Prius. Yeah, that whole check went down for the down payment on the car.
Did you get that back? Like,
nope.
Divorce wise?
Nope.
I mean, how does that work? Like, obviously, I've never been married. I don't even know.
Nope.
It's
shared account.
You each get a lawyer, or do you have a shared like attorney?
Luckily, we really didn't have anything to really split up. So it really didn't matter. But like, it was kind of like, trust me, it was a kick in the balls. And after a kick in the balls, to have that happen, and it's like, once you put it in that joint account, it's like both of y'all's, So like,
hell no, not after what you found out. I would have went straight to the bank, like, hey, you know what? I want to make so not an authorized. Just take them out of the account.
Does not matter in the state of Florida. Divorces are like a no fault type deal.
So do you need, like, say if you have a joint account with someone and you go to the bank and you say you want to take all the money out, do you have to have authorization from the other person?
No, you don't. Nope.
Well, see, that's stupid. It should be a certain amount that where
it's not like in every single movie, like, here, I'll give you an example. Well, see, you don't know movies, but like, when it's a secured vault and they have like two keys and you have to like turn the keys at the same time, because you can't do it by yourself. You have to have another person with you, and you have to go, all right, you're going to turn the key in 3, 2, 1. No, it's not like that. If your name's on it, you can just take the money out.
Yeah, but like if I'm a bank teller and you or her comes up and wants to take all the money out, like that's when you kind of make that eye contact, like, are you sure? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't
Isn't
know.
that some bullshit though?
Yeah, well, one, a bank usually wants to keep your money in there. They don't want you to take all your money out. And two, I mean, it's a joint account, but shit, man, you would think like someone had some type of ethical, light bulb and say, wait a minute, you guys have never taken this much out at one time, and so on and so forth. You get it.
I just thought of a topic. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to discuss this with you. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, I know this is not me against the Me Too movement. I know women get sexually harassed. They really do. Okay. Women have it really, really tough. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But do you almost feel like it's almost gone to one side and the guys are now the ones that get shit on a lot? And what I mean by that is that, like guys can be nice, be gentlemen and all that good stuff, but when they have issues or they have problems, it's just be a man up, do this.
It's almost like right now you have to treat women like you would treat your grandma.
Okay, but yeah, exactly. But like, do you feel like men's like, not I hate to say feelings, but like
mental
our
health.
our well-being really doesn't matter. It's like, you know what, suck it up. You're a man. You need to do what you got to do.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's kind of always been like that. All
right, we're going to talk about that when we come back. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. All right, let me stop this real quick.
Yeah.
That might get us some heat, but I think
He's a nerd,
I've only been arrested one time.
a radio personality,
Professionally, I'm not in the best position that I've ever been in.
and hot talk satirizer.
You would think with everything that's going on, a Caucasian like myself wouldn't be able to randomly talk to an African American or a minority.
You're listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Wish you could have just flown and had your vehicle arrive a day or two later so you can enjoy more time doing what's important to you? Well, you can. Just give Starfire Transport a call. Let the professionals do the driving while you're flying. Starfire Transport specializes in RV and auto transport. They'll also haul watercraft from boats to PWCs, cargo trailers, and more. Service available throughout the continental United States. So don't wait. Call Brian today at 574-349-4193 or 989-751-6106 for your next move. 10% off for veterans past or present. Also, make sure to tell them Tuddle sent you for an additional discount. That's Starfire Transport. Do you have something you want to say?
Hey, what kind of preacher is you?
Leave Tuddle a voicemail,
Cause you kind of ignorant.
especially if you think he's being an asshole.
No-legged bitch.
Will your hurtful comments offend Tuddle?
No, baby.
Call the show at 407-270-3044.
No, baby.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. I got Serak, my comatose with the mostest.
Yo.
Tell people how they can check out the weekly review podcast, because I was actually on your show yesterday. When is that? Is that available, or when it will be?
Going to be posted on Tuesday. This coming up Tuesday.
Can I ask how do you think I did?
I think you did great. I think it was great to see like you and Sean, because the first time like we had you on, like obviously he didn't know exactly who you were, but now, it's a comfort between you guys. And I kind of just wanted I don't know if you noticed.
He seemed like it was smile, though. He was like smiling and having a good time. And
I mean, like you guys have a lot in common, that you guys really don't know about. And if you notice, I kind of just sat back and just kind of let you guys talk to each other.
Now he kind of tried to get me with a gotcha question yesterday.
Which question?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for your show about, the guy that you interned and I worked for.
Oh, about the whole lawsuit thing. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't talk about it. Like,
that threw me off guard. I didn't even know he knew about that.
But like I talk and share about everything, but I can't.
For legal purposes. That's understandable.
But so that'll be up on Tuesday. Tell people how they can when that is available, where they can find that.
So you can find it either on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, same thing. Spotify and YouTube. So with the audio versions, which is Spotify and Apple Podcasts, just type in the weekly review, or you can just type in my name, Serak, which is very unique and a lot easier to find. That's Serak. Yes, I know, unfortunately, not like the liquor, but tastes all the same. And on YouTube, just type in the weekly review, or once again, type in my name, and that will be posted on Tuesday. So check it out.
All right. So we talked about this before. Do you think good men are underappreciated by women? Like,
oh man, that's a tough question.
Ones that are polite, the ones that are gentlemen, the ones that respect women, because there are a lot of guys out there. Everybody says, oh, the women love the bad boys. They.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Yeah, but I mean, in some cases it is, though.
I just think they like. I think there's a lot of good men out there, and I think sometimes women just like something different. I feel like it's them going from a really nice guy, a gentleman, whatever you want to call it, and say they break up and they want something new, which is technically the bad boy, but that's kind of just portrayed on TV and movies and stuff like that. I don't think like it's that,
but it does happen though.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a bad boy. It's just a little bit badder than the previous guy.
Okay, so kind of related to my marriage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that she always wanted was she saw what her sister had up north.
What did her sister have?
I mean, a very successful husband, one that provided, the one that.
But that's just what she. That's just what they projected. Doesn't mean that's what actually was going on.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say though is that are we going too far in the other direction? I'm not like going against the Me Too movement or any of that stuff. Yes, it's horrible of a lot of the sexual harassment that women go through, but
right.
I really feel like people just don't give a fuck about the stress that men in America have to deal with.
No, because men in nature, are stubborn, and we really don't express our feelings much. It's a toughness thing. It's all the testosterone built up. You don't want to show any cracks in the arm or any type of weakness, and for some reason, or be vulnerable. Emotions sometimes can be seen as you being vulnerable, which is not a bad thing. But for me, I mean, I feel the same way. Like I don't know. I'm dealing with stuff. I just kind of keep it to myself.
Okay, but I do that. But you do realize that is a cause of a lot of issues that we're having. I mean, here, I'll give you an example. Look at most of the mass shootings that are going on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Men, right?
Right. I don't think it's ever been a woman.
Yeah, I mean, and for the most part, if you look at serial killers, I mean, they're usually white dudes, correct?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that, it's not good to just suck it up and take all of that stuff on your own, because are we just going too far to one side? Forever it was about women wanting equal rights. And I'm not bashing women, please. I hope people don't think that I'm doing that, but like, are we really going that far now where like it really the guy does not matter, the men do not matter?
I think with men, I think it's too much of a stress of just life in general, to where it's almost like we don't even have time to like express emotions, right? Because it's a rat chase,
Here,
you got to be the breadwinner, you got to make the money, you got to be the security. It's so much more that you have to do, to where you kind of have to like separate the emotional side from the side that what makes you a man, I guess. Okay. You just don't have time to express yourself.
Okay, here, I'll give you an example. Okay, I've talked about my dad's in the hospital right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's very confused. I mean, he was much better today, but I can still tell he's not all the way there. But do you realize what it's like for your dad not to recognize you?
No, not at all. I mean, that.
Yeah,
shit.
it's pretty fucked up, Serak, and I hope you never.
Do you show
have to
like
go through
pictures of you two together?
No, it's just
50 first dates.
No, it's just, but I mean, that's tough. And you know what I've done? Like, a lot of people probably think I'm a sociopath or I'm heartless, but I've shown no emotion during this time because I got to be strong. I can't let
But
my
maybe you
dad see
should.
myself that way.
But
I
maybe you
don't,
should.
my mom is a wreck. And I feel like it's my responsibility to be the strong one.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certain times where it's just like,
Oh,
you
trust me.
you could fake it as much as you want, but
When
they know. They trust me, they know how you feel.
Okay, but when I'm not around there, trust me, I get it out. But I just don't do it in front of them. And I think but that's expected. That is what people expect men to do. That's the point that I'm trying to make, though, Serak.
Yeah, but you have to mentally get over that hump. You know. And the sad part is, just like in your situation, a lot of times, just to kind of.
And plus, I'm the only child too. Like, I don't have any siblings or anybody to lean on, or at least help me carry some of the burden. This is all on me. This is all on me.
It's tough, man. You know, I mean, I guess you got to be the tough one, but you know, in another sense, like maybe that would help, man, if you showed some emotion. You know, while they're around. You've never tried it. You have no idea what's going to happen. You know, what harm could it do? You know, and a lot of times, just to give you an example, I feel like just men in general, like we don't really think about like our mental health or like you saying or vent or anything like that till it's almost too late. I'm saying look at me till it's almost too late, right? Till you're in your 60s or 70s. I kind of noticed that with my dad a little bit. Now that he's older, he's like been way more opening up and stuff like that. But you know, when I was younger as a kid, I mean, I wasn't as observant, but it was always seen like more of a tougher, you know, no shit type of attitude.
But we all do. But to see, a lot of people don't realize this, though. You know, a lot of people don't take into account how important the younger years of your life are. It sets you up. It makes you into who you are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the same thing. Listen, my dad was out working all the time, so I was kind of a mama's boy. We had no neighbors or anything. Like I had to entertain myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was usually with my mom and my dad. Like, I remember me and this kid on the baseball team were having a disagreement, and his dad was a coach too on the team. You know what they did? My dad pulled down the tailgate. Told us to handle business. Yeah, they handle business.
Who won? You ain't gotta lie.
I got my ass beat.
Come on. Well, you listen. We're not all fighters. Which
I mean, listen. I'm the type of guy. I am not scared to fight. Okay, I'm not afraid to take an ass beating. I'm gonna at least get one good one in on you.
Yeah, but you gotta switch that up. You gotta be the type of guy that is scared of losing. Right? That'll make you really good if you're scared of losing. Not getting your ass, but scared of losing. Then you will never lose. Trust me. Especially in fighting.
Okay, do you want to know what I did in that fight, though? Because the one thing my dad was actually proud of, okay?
Kicked him in the nuts?
No, my dad always told me there are no rules when it comes to fighting.
Hell no. And I don't know why people think there are, but they're not.
No, there are no rules. The kid had me by like 60 pounds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I was only like $125, like 5'9", maybe 5. I was a very awkward, gangly young teen, okay? And he was on top of me and just pounding. You know what I did? I almost bit his nipple off. Like I just leaned up and bit the first thing that I could grab. Yeah. And guess what? He got off of me and I got a good kick to the head in.
But I would tell you, I support that 100% because I've actually bitten somebody in like a tussle.
I mean, so you agree, but everybody at that, all the kids in my class, oh, you're a pussy, you got to cheat. And I'm like,
that's not cheating.
There's no rules in fighting. Like, if you look, what am I just going to sit there and let that guy just pound the fuck out of me? No.
I would say I would say kicking someone in the nuts. I think that's just an unspoken, no.
Oh, dude.
Unless you're fighting like Shaquille O'Neal or something, like you can't do that.
The Asian people love punching in the balls. I don't know what it is. We had a Laotian kid that we went to school with, and we got into a disagreement. And like, I wasn't paying attention, and we had a disagreement. I thought it was done, and he fucking hit me. It like it punched me square in the balls with his
Oh
hand.
my goodness. You got to get revenge, but like be prepared. Like go buy a cup. Like, hey, it's payback time. It just keeps punching you in the nuts.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, yeah, I mean, but I always agreed. Like, when it comes to fighting, there's no rules. Like, you got to do whatever you got to do.
Hell no. And like, I remember it used to be like a thing to where like, if you kick, like not stomp somebody, but if you like kick someone, like it was considered like a girl move, you know, like kicking.
I see people do that all the time now, but I wouldn't do that because you could easily kill somebody that way. Like,
oh yeah,
are we
you
talking
kick them in the face? I'm saying like
stomping
just kicking
or
in
like
general.
field goal kicking or stomping.
I'm talking like Bruce Lee, you know, roundhouse kick.
Oh yeah. No. Like I did that. I was in. You wouldn't believe I was a 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo.
What? Get out of here!
I still have the fucking belt, dude.
Obviously this was after the biting situation.
No, I was only a yellow belt at that time. So, yeah.
Listen, man. Next week when I get my black belt, I'm whooping your ass. I swear to God.
But I mean, I don't know. I just, like every kid wants to make their dad proud. Like every son, right? Like you. Yeah,
but winning a fight doesn't necessarily. I mean, that wouldn't make me like proud. It was just. I guess it depends on the circumstances, but.
But what I'm trying to say though is that I was a very emotional kid growing up, but I could not be that way around my dad when he wasn't working. And I'm not saying anything bad about my dad. Not at all. Like my fondest memories, my favorite memories of my whole entire life is my dad coaching my baseball team.
Did he do that? Did he do that a lot? Like, did you guys spend like a lot of time, like a lot of baseball time? See, that's good, man. I guess I did kind of have that, but that's what's tough, man. Like when, like you said, when you're blue collar, your father, just like mine, like when they work all the time, it kind of sucks.
I think we got to wrap this up because I see other people. I think Vulture has a meeting scheduled.
Oh, okay.
So we got to wrap this up. All right. So we'll continue this. I thought this was a very interesting conversation. So, Serak, tell people once again how they can check out the weekly review.
Of course, Apple Podcasts or iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Just type in the weekly review. If that doesn't work, it would work. But easier is just type in my name, Serak. It's Serak. Not like the liquor, but I promise you, I taste 10 times better.
All right, Serak, have a wonderful day.
All right, buddy, take care.
From the Vapor Shades Hobo Fish Camp.
Man, maybe I would have way more sex partners in my life if I just threw caution to the wind.
It's the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Tuddle's Daily Podcast is brought to you by StitchYouUp.com. For your embroidery, screen printing, vinyl, and direct-to-garment printing needs, visit StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up specializes in custom caps, shirts, decals, and anything you want to personalize. Whether it's one item or large orders, they can handle any size. Unsure about what you want? Let Stitch You Up help you with your logo design. Visit StitchYouUp.com or contact them, Eric at StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up. Definitely not your grandma's embroidery. Nerd. Radio personality and hot talk satirizer. You're listening to the Tuddle Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. If it sounds like I'm speaking very, like I'm not projecting like I usually do, it's because I'm actually in the hospital right now. No, I'm not in the hospital. I'm visiting my dad. But on the line with me right now is David. David, how do you pronounce it? Is it Bedford?
It's Bedford, yeah.
Okay. Now, David, before we get into the interview, tell people a little bit about yourself and where people can find all of your content, like your book and stuff.
Okay, well, I'm from Liverpool in England.
By the way, I'm a Manchester United fan, so I don't know how much.
That's it. I'm off. Forget it. That's you're talking serious stuff. That is swear words.
I know it is. See,
you're a brave man.
Yeah. Now, David, see, a lot of people all want to say that, Manchester City, Manchester is their main rival, and I don't believe that. I think Liverpool, Manchester United are the two biggest rivals for each other.
Absolutely, yeah, it is, and it's like within the city of Liverpool, there's two teams, Liverpool and Everton. You can tell the difference. Liverpool are in red and win things. Everton in blue and don't.
Oh, so it's blue against red in both things, though.
In both cities, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're only just over 30 miles apart.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a lot of rivalry. But really, Manchester City are the team in Manchester that have been winning a lot over the last few years. Manchester United did a while ago, haven't won much recently.
Yeah, but I feel though like I'm glad that they're giving Ole Gunnar a little leadway, because they've been so quick to pull their managers. In my opinion, you got to give. I mean, they gave Klopp a lot of time, didn't they? I mean, he's been there for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, we knew how big a job it was going to be, and I think it's the right thing to do. Now, the way I pronounce Ole's name is Ole Gunnar Get Sacked.
Yeah.
Because that's what United do to managers.
Now, let me ask you, though, and we'll get into the plugs, but I got to ask you this. Even though, you being in Liverpool, I mean, is there a little bit of respect for Sir Alex Ferguson, though?
Grudgingly, little bit, yes.
I mean,
out of jealousy.
Yeah, I mean, he was really, really good. So let's get into why you were calling David. Now, tell people about your book, because like you are like a Beatles aficionado.
Yeah, I've sort of over the last 20 years from nowhere become one of the world's leading authorities on the early history of the Beatles, particularly the story in Liverpool, which wasn't really getting covered. So I've done a number of books now. I've also done a documentary feature film called Looking for Lennon, which was nominated for a National Film Award over here, and it's been out on DVD and Blu-ray in the States for 2 or 3 years now.
You know what's funny? We have a little because I'm in Central Florida, and there's a little suburb of Orlando called Winter Park. And Paul McCartney's daughter goes to Rollins College here. And every so often, when you walk down Main Street of Winter Park, you'll look to the right, you'll be like, holy crap, that's Paul McCartney eating ice cream in front of the shop on a bench.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. I mean, even now, because he's a regular visitor to Liverpool. Out of all the 4 Beatles, he's the one who's kept his family ties here, and he's kept a house here, and he visits on a very, very regular basis. So that there's always a crowd out to see him when he's back. And I think it's one of those things. He is so popular, but he's always going to be that
is he the most
populous?
Is he the? But I mean, do you feel like John Lennon is the most popular out of all of them?
I think so. And I think one of the problems Paul has, in a way, is that he's still alive. Because really, for the Beatles, for the songwriting, it's Lennon and McCartney, it's the two of them together. That teamwork is inseparable. And I get a feeling that it isn't until Paul goes that all the best stuff is going to be said about him, about how what a great guy, great musician, great songwriter.
Isn't that weird though? Like even with painters and stuff, they don't get their true like accolades until after they're dead, which I think is a little sad, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree, and I think he deserves a lot more respect. And one of the things I've tried to champion over the years is the same for Ringo. No, Ringo's always seen as, he was the clown, he was the guy at the back, and doesn't get enough respect. And
what about George?
Well, I think George, thankfully, got a lot of respect over the years, particularly when he came out of the shadow of John and Paul. And when they split up in 1970, George brings out a triple album All Things Must Pass, they realised they always knew what a great guitarist he was. But he became, by the end of the Beatles' career, the last album they recorded, Abbey Road, George's songs on there are as good as anything John and Paul had done.
Now, let me ask you. So some of their music is pretty far out there, like, kind of like, any idea of like what type of substances were they doing? Acid, smoking weed, like any drugs back in the day? Because a lot of these songs sound like they were written, or were they written completely clean?
Oh no, absolutely. The drugs did play a part. Get a few mentions in the occasional song, but yeah, definitely. There's a time, and they were quite open with it. I remember McCartney got interviewed in the mid-60s, and he was saying, "Yeah, we do take marijuana," and there was the big debate was going on back then. And then obviously that they talked about they were introduced to LSD. For George, it was a life-changing thing. Really opened up his creativity. John wasn't as fussed with it. It wasn't really a Paul thing. The John, then he did end up hooked on heroin.
Oh, I did not know that. So damn.
It was really nasty. And when I was doing the documentary film Looking for Lennon, what we were looking at was his childhood, and there was so much trauma in his childhood. So
what kind of trauma? Because I'm a survivor of childhood trauma, and I don't think a lot of people realize, when you're a kid, those are the most important years of your life, and
Absolutely.
it sets you up for the future. It really does.
Well, absolutely right, and you'll understand this then. So for John's trauma was, first of all, his dad was away during the war in the Merchant Navy, and of course he was born at the beginning of the Second World War. So John didn't really have a relationship with his dad. His mum and dad then split up. His mum had a new boyfriend. They were living together in a one-bedroom flat, sharing one bed. Not appropriate. Social services then removed John from his mother at the age of 5.
Man.
Handed him over to his auntie and uncle to bring him up. He then, his Uncle George becomes his father figure. His Uncle George dropped dead suddenly when John was 14. John then gets close to his mother again. They become really, really close. She's a very important part of his musical career, who gets knocked down by a car when John was 17. He then gets close to another guy, Stuart Sutcliffe, who becomes the Beatles' first bass player. And they become as close as brothers, very, very close. And Stuart dropped dead of a brain hemorrhage at the age of 21 in Hamburg in 1962. All of those things happened before the Beatles became famous.
Man, but do you believe, like, I'm a big Anglophile, for my audience. If they don't know what that means, I love the British culture.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and I was watching one of the episodes the other day. I don't know. Do you watch Doctor Who at all, or have you ever?
I remember that from childhood.
Well, they did an episode with Vincent van Gogh where they went back in time, and they brought him back to the future to be able to see what his paintings meant to him. But one of the things that they talked about was suffering creates genius sometimes. There's two ways that it can go.
Yeah.
And Van Gogh used a lot of his suffering and his mental illness and portrayed it in his paintings. And I almost kind of feel like, after hearing what you said, that's kind of in the case of John Lennon.
Absolutely. And one of the things I was keen to do for the end of the film was to have John's song Help performed as John wrote it. So if you watch the video on YouTube of the Beatles singing Help, John's there, beaming face, smiling away, singing.
Is that the one that goes, help, I need somebody?
That's the one.
Is that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you study those lyrics. John wrote that as a blues song. He was crying out for help because he said, I had all the money I wanted, all the fame, all the women, and he had no contentment. He had no satisfaction in there. He said, I was almost numb. I was crying out for help. Help me if you can. I'm feeling down.
And nobody saw it. They just saw it as a song, and they didn't read into it.
No, and so by then, all that childhood trauma had gone into the stage where he couldn't feel a thing, and he tried so many different drugs,
self-medicating. He was self-medicating. He was self-medicating.
Yeah, and the only time he then confronted it was 1970 when he underwent primal therapy with Dr. Janov over in LA. And this is like the primal scream therapy where you scream it out of you. And the trauma went back to having to try and choose between his mum and dad when he was 5, and ending up with neither of them. That brought an album called John Lennon Plastic Ono Band. And it's a painful album, but there's some amazing songs on there.
All right. So you were talking about women. I can't do a Beatles interview without asking about Yoko Ono. So, is she portrayed the way people think? Like, is she responsible for the breakup of the Beatles? Did she like try to pry into it too much? Like, I would love to hear your opinion on it.
Well, funnily enough, it was because of Yoko that I wrote my first article about the Beatles. And it was back in the summer of 2000, so nearly 21 years ago. I've got 3 daughters, all born in the same hospital as John Lennon. My wife and I, we've lived here just off Penny Lane for the last 30 odd years.
Hey, I'm sorry. I have ADHD, so you bring out Penny Lane. Now that's where they have the that famous cover of them walking across the crosswalk, or
no, that's Abbey Road.
That's Abbey Road. Now, how many people get hit on a yearly basis trying to recreate? Yeah. Because all the tourists, I know they got to go there and try to take pictures.
Oh, yeah. Well, a good friend of mine, Richard Porter, is a tour guide down in London. And his tour always goes, of course, to Abbey Road. And he said, there's been so many near misses. In fact, years ago, when I went down to London, when my girls were young, and we were trying to recreate it on the crosswalk there. Because
you and your 3 daughters. I mean, it works out perfectly. It's 4 people, absolutely. You and your 3 daughters. Yeah.
Exactly. So my wife's there taking the picture. Me and my 3 daughters on the crossing, and this driver decided she didn't have the time to wait for that, and nearly knocked my daughter over because she drove past it. So it is very dangerous down there.
Yeah, you guys don't have guns over there. That would have been a clean that would have been a clean shoot in Florida. Like like straight up. Like if they would have tried to hit one of my daughters or accidentally, I'm firing off a few rounds.
Absolutely.
But exactly. But so back to Yoko Ono.
Back to Yoko, yeah. So the story. So I've lived near Penny Lane for the odd 30 years, and our 3 daughters were born in the same hospital John Lennon was born in, and their local primary school, which is elementary school over there, was Dovedale, which is the primary school that John Lennon and George Harrison both attended. So the girls are there, and my wife and I were involved in parents' associations and stuff. And we were doing some renovation for the playground, trying to raise some money. Now, knowing that both John Lennon and George Harrison attended, as well as some of the famous people in Britain, we did some fundraising. And the person who responded to our request was Yoko. And she said, "How much money do you need?" And we needed something like £27,000. And she said, "I want to give you £30,000, pay for everything you want to do." John loved his time at Dovedale. And so she gave us the money, and she's made 4 or 5 trips over, been to the school, met the children a number of times. I met her because I'm the chair of the Board of Governors at Dovedale School still, been like that for 15 years. I met her in John's childhood home, Mendips. She was doing an exhibition or something, and all the other camera crews and stuff were there. But she always invites the children from the school. So I led a group up there. I met her inside John's childhood home of Mendips. And I've got to say, she was absolutely lovely with the children.
Wow.
She's been very, very generous to the school, very generous to Liverpool.
Isn't that crazy how, just how people's public image, like people make and judgments on people and stuff, and not really knowing that type of stuff.
And that's why I wrote the first article I ever wrote about the Beatles was about Yoko giving the money to Tuddle School, because I thought Beatles fans at least need to know the story. Now, did she break the Beatles up? Well, that was happening anyway.
How did they meet?
Well, how did they meet? Originally, John had a group called the Quarrymen. And then 6th of July 1957, one of interesting stories. So John had a childhood friend called Ivan Vaughan. He ends up at the same school as Paul McCartney. They become friends. Ivan brings Paul to meet John. So if it hadn't been for Ivan Vaughan, there would be no Beatles. So This guy brings the two together, introduces them. And so John and Paul are in a group together. Paul then brings George into the group. So this by the end of 1957, John, Paul and George are together. Now, how they get through to adding Ringo is not a straightforward one. And two of my books have covered that story. There are so many people involved, so many musicians in the story. Ringo comes into it quite late on. When they became the Beatles as a rock and roll band, which was 1960, they went to Hamburg in the August. And for the next 2 years, their drummer was Pete Best. 61, Paul McCartney takes over on bass. So there are 4-piece, John, Paul, George and Pete. They get the record deal in the summer of 62, and then very, very suddenly, Pete's out of the group and Ringo's in just before they release their first record.
Now, what was it about when the Beatles first came to America? What was it like? Can you put your finger on it? Like, why did everybody lose their goddamn minds? Like the girls and stuff. I mean, what was it?
I must be over the years, because I made a number of trips to the States. Normally, in pre-COVID times, I'm a guest speaker at a Beatles convention, one in New Jersey, one in Chicago, the Fest for Beatles fans. So I've made a number of friends over in the States over the last 10 years or so. And I asked them all the same question. And one of my best friends lives in Dallas. So, of course, he was there.
It's the accent. It's got to be the accent. It's got to be the accent. Like, I mean, the American women, they get tired of, the hick Southern accent down here in the States, and they're like, oh man, this British guy sounds fancy, so I think that's what it is. It's got to be the accent.
I think that was a big part of it. There's also the big stars like Elvis had his early hits, and then he was off in the army and things were different for him. Chuck Berry, who really was the heart and soul of rock and roll, had already been in prison at one point. And out again. The American music scene was changing. Then Kennedy's assassinated in November 63, and the country really hits a down. And just at the right time, musically, and I think just physically, coming in from Britain are these 4 lunatic lads with slightly long hair. They talk funny like I do, and they laugh and joke in interviews. And I've got this music, which in a way wasn't that brand new, because it was American rock and roll, which is what they grew up on, but they updated it, changed it, got this Mersey sound, and then brought that back over. And I think that the timing was just right. I think America was ready for something new musically, and something coming in from Britain that was fresh. It was new, and that got these 4 characters who were really funny, were great in interviews, and had this amazing music. And the timing, it was just one of those, perfect storm. It was just right.
Now, David, before I let you go, I gotta ask you this: what is your favorite all-time Beatles song, in your opinion?
All-time favorite. I get asked that a lot. It's the same as trying to choose my all-time favorite album, which is never easy to do. it probably comes down to In My Life. I think if you're going for an all-time favorite Beatles song, and that's because of studying the background of it, because John Lennon, his first lyrics were all written around the area where I live, like Penny Lane and all these places, and he couldn't make it work, and he scrapped it and started again. So I love it for the original lyrics, but it is just, I think, musical perfection. It really is a great, great song.
Now, David, before I let you go, tell people once again how they can check out any of your content, where they can find your your movies or your books or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the new book I've just published, it, which is going down very well on your side of the pond. It's called The Country of Liverpool, because Liverpool had the biggest country and western scene.
Really?
In Britain and possibly in Europe. This is in the 50s and the 60s. And we were known as the Nashville of the North within the UK. And those country roots are in the Beatles story as well. So I've just brought this book out called The Country of Liverpool. And so you can find that there's a website which is just called thecountryofliverpool.com. You can find out all about that book. If you want to find out everything I do, all my projects, then I've got a website which is called Liddypool. Liddypool's the title of my first book. LIDDYPOOL. So liddypool.com. That you can see where I blog all the books that I've done about the documentary film, all the information. liddypool.com. You'll find me there.
All right, David. Hey, I really appreciated this opportunity to speak with you, and I would like to have you on again to talk some country music, because I grew up in the South, and I would like to. I would like to discuss country music with you and kind of compare, the differences.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
All right, David. I really appreciated it, man. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Oh, you do too. And I hope everything's okay at your end of the hospital as well.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by the Vapor Shades Hobo Fish Camp. You want some cool-ass sunglasses? Check out vaporshades.com. Also brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show intern Hannah and Charlie Alamo for their contributions. Additional imaging and production is provided by CCA Productions. Facebook.com/CCA Productions Presents. Show voiceover service is brought to you by JCVoiceover.com. That guy's got a damn sexy voice. You should hire him. Check out JCVoiceover.com. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. Comments? Concerns? Or do you just want to let Tuddle know he's being a dickhead? Tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with 2 Ds at gmail.com. Leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all of Tuddle's social media, go to Tuddle.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Hey, yo, Terry, fuck going on?